masters at the Federal Reserve. You know, they're the ones that control it, like an EU or Soviet-era committee. It goes on and on. It is a devastating article, and it's got the intel from Ron Paul breaking it down. So please get this article out to everyone you know. It is so important to expose what's happening. You're like, but it's already passed. They've already done it. But see, just because they sign a UN treaty in 1992 declaring Agenda 21 smart growth and saying that by a decade into the 21st century, they would shut down all human progress except for the elites. I mean, pull it up. UN calls for post-industrial society, calls for end of the nuclear family, calls for compulsory sterilization. I mean, this is not a conspiracy theory. This is a fact. Look at our article from Friday that got linked on drudgereport.com and other big sites. And then I noticed when it got linked on other big neocon sites, even mainline Republican sites, they said, oh, look, the UN wants this, but Alex Jones is a kook, there's no global government. I mean, and all I was quoting was a UN press release that Paul Watson linked to and the Desert News. And I saw one article going, why is Drudge linking to this crud? This is what discredits conservatives, is saying there's a UN takeover. Yeah. I mean, the UN, Ban Ki-moon says we need a global tax. Internet taxes, financial transaction taxes, and wellhead taxes to pay the UN itself run by big mega banks that have just gobbled Europe completely and are openly saying no sovereignty. But again, there's a big New York Times article I'm going to cover when we get back. New York Times. Activists fight green projects, seeing UN plot. They believe in an imaginary thing called Agenda 21. Then they go on to admit it's Agenda 21. Well, I have the UN itself telling you what Agenda 21 is from the UN's own stinking website, and I have Schwarzenegger and all of them admitting it. It's coming up. All right. When I saw this article this morning, my mind exploded in 1,000 different directions because I've watched the UN hearings on C-SPAN. I've read their biological diversity assessments. I've got the footage from the 92 Rio meeting where they said, post-industrial world, we're going to destroy industrial society. The head of the conference, Maurice Strong, there's a video of it. It's all online. Ted Turner, Prince Philip, Prince Charles, Queen of the Netherlands, Jacques Cousteau saying kill 300,000+ people a day. You know, all of this crazy stuff. And then the big multinationals shutting down all their competition. I live in Austin that has election fraud. People always say Austin's liberal. You mean establishment, snookered, trendies that are anti-human? No, we're not. No, we're not. Austin has incredible election fraud. Austin is a beautiful, wonderful city. Okay? Austin is not liberal. A small coterie runs things and feeds off of us, and they're not liberals. They're scum. It's not liberal to shut down our city-owned power plant and shut down another county-owned one and shut down a bunch of others and use government regulators and then massively increase prices over 100% in the last 2 years. 80% this year, the city council announced and has been fighting over. Strangely enough, Lee Leffingwell, who's pretty bad news, has been saying he's against it, but only wanting smaller increases. And they say, though, it's for the earth. Pay more money. It's for the earth. It's like it's that excuse. It's like, we're going to take you and burn your wife at the stake because we say she's a witch. It's, you know, it's for God or whatever. No, you're just using that name for power. And then I read this New York Times article where these condescending people talk to us like we're 5-year-olds, and all these wannabe intelligentsia that get the physical paper or read it online or read it on their little Kindle or their iPad, who think they're so smart and who will then condescend at people like me and make comments on YouTube or comments on national TV. Oh, he's the guy that thinks the UN's taking over. They have UN signs. I hadn't been hiking in about 2 years on some of the main trailheads because I just tend to pull off on the side of the road and go, you know, hike into the green belts wherever I want to. And me and Richard Reeves a few months ago, I had Richard, you know, going on long hikes with me because he likes to hike and I like to hike. And, you know, we were going on like little 10-mile hikes and stuff. And everywhere were UN signs that we're part of a UN control system now, just like Agenda 21 and the biosphere zones and World Heritage Sites. I mean, this is going on everywhere, and it's on paper. It's under executive order, 12,986, where Bill Clinton signed us over. Guys, let me check that number. I haven't checked it in years. Bill Clinton executive order handing over Parkland to UN. And then the buffer zones around it. I mean, by the late 90s, they were telling people that own their own gold mine, 30 miles outside of, in one case, Yellowstone, you can't have your gold mine anymore because you're 30 miles from the UN zone. Or Bill Clinton signed an executive order blocking southern Utah coal development, the only clean-burning coal in North America and enough to run the country for over 100 years. Perfectly clean, no mercury, no nothing in it, no need for scrubbers, none of it. Makes it even cheaper. And overnight, this was even in mainstream news back in the time in the late 90s, you can look it up. Overnight, the stocks of the Chinese company doubled, one of the only other reserves in the world. Overnight. For whatever reason, geologically, that similar area of China has the same dinosaur bones, a lot of the same whatever as areas of Utah. I guess they say back when Pangea was there or something, it was a similar development. If you believe any of that, whatever. The point is, people need to get that's how this works. Just like they shut down that big pipeline that was going to supply massive amounts of oil from Canada to the U.S., shut it down. Now they're going to massively increase the profits of Warren Buffett and his trains. Associated Press, Bloomberg all wrote, he'll make billions just off that a year. Shipping by train, much more expensively, massive amounts of oil to the West Coast and then in huge ships to China and Japan. Again, you can look it up. China gets 3 new coal power plants a week. We have coal plants, well, by the hundreds being shut down every year. We get our plants shut down, they get new plants. They get oil, we get diddly squat. And again, it's all insider globalist. They don't just get money and power, they shut off their competition. It's right out of Atlas Shrugged. All right, now when we come back, I'm going to read you this New York Times article that's got me hotter than a pistol. Again, it's the condescension of these scum. And it's so pleasing to see them becoming discredited and becoming jokes and the dinosaur horde media imploding on itself.
We're on the march. The Empire.
Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're here live blasting out on XM Channel 166. Well over 100 AM and FM affiliates. Global shortwave at WWCR. And, of course, on the audio streams at Infowars.com. #1 radio show on the internet worldwide by every major metric. Look it up for yourself. And that's thanks to you spreading the word out there and my team's hard work as well. And, of course, my tireless dedication and will to face down these crooks and get angry at them and say, I don't care if we win or lose. I mean, I want to win, but I'm not even thinking about that. You want to get in a fight, New World Order? All right. I'm taking the gloves off. I'm coming in. I'm going to fight you as hard as I can. And I'm going to improvise, adapt, and learn. And we're going to kick your New World Order tail. And you know what? It's starting to happen. And that's my frustration. Every time good people turn it loose on the New World Order. Every time we get involved. Every time we simply get off the bench and get up there, we have victory. And I got to tell you, it's shocking sometimes when listeners call and they say, well, I'm calling. It's scared for me to even call in. But then I understand, you know, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. But you should be afraid of letting this system go into place. They're already jacking our food and water on record. They're already messing with our atmosphere. The globalists are already playing God. The only thing you should be afraid of is laying there in the ditch. For me, that's horrifying. For me, what's horrifying is letting these scum win. I take what they do personal. A lot of people say, well, I fight the New World Order a little bit, but I don't take it personal. You know, I think it's good to take it personal. I think it's good. I don't take it personal when some guy flips me off on the highway. Or I don't take it personal when somebody, you know, snubs me or acts powerful. I don't care about that. I take it personal when people try to assault my children with GMO food, fluoride, aspartame, melamine, bisphenol A. I take it personal when the United States has the highest prison rate, obesity rate, cancer rate. We're the leaders in everything bad by design by the globalists. From the leaders in everything good 60 years ago to the leaders in everything bad. By design. All the textbooks, all the documents. I'm angry about it. Okay? And I know where this is leading if we don't turn this around. Not somewhere pretty. Now, I just asked the guys, because right before showtime, I was going through the news they'd printed, and I saw a piece of news I hadn't seen out of the New York Times, and I just said, start printing me Agenda 21, UN documents, government executive orders, and then obviously later after the radio show, for the nightly news or for a special report, I'm going to have to shoot a special report on this, just to illustrate how not only does the media spin and lie, but how they're arrogant and think you're idiots. And see, that's the thing. It's so frustrating to see people thinking they're informed because they read it in the New York Times and it's a bunch of sophistic garbage. It's just so mindlessly written. I mean, if I wanted to write for the New World Order, it'd be so easy. Their tricks are so mindless. It's written at a 6th grade level. And this is what so-called intellectuals. I mean, nowadays in America, it's intellectuals that can even talk or even read. Pretty soon you'll be an intellectual and seen as a genius if you can tie your shoelaces. I mean, this is the type of garbage. This is the type of bull that we're talking about here. All right, let me continue here. Again, going through this information, here is the article itself that I've been ranting about from the New York Times. Now, listen to how they try to imply this isn't real, but then later admit it is real, but just that our response is crazy. Okay? And this is all driven towards peer pressure. This is all driven towards people that just go with whatever they think is acceptable in society. It's so pathetic that people think it's like a sacrament or it's something really special to do whatever the TV says. The TV wants to destroy your culture, destroy your family. It's a private, corporate, global takeover of the human species. It is a wrecking ball, a scorched earth takeover of every facet of our world. Now, here's the New York Times insult to intelligence. In fact, you know, we print all the news that's fit to print. What an arrogant statement, you know, that we think is fit to print. We print it all. No, you are an insult to intelligence who get off on steering our society into a collapsed economy, just like you're collapsing, into a dirty rat hole, lies of WMDs, you name it. Activists fight green projects. Of course, last time one of the richest guys in Mexico connected to all sorts of shady stuff is the main owner. So, I mean, that's what you expect from this. Activists fight green projects, seeing UN plot. Across the country, activists with ties to the Tea Party, that's the original proto Ron Paul Alex Jones Tea Party. Not the neocon one that tells people, oh, we don't want your 1776 shirts here. We don't want your fight the New World Order stuff here. We don't want your get the UN out of America stuff. That's extreme. That's what mainline Republicans tell me. You know, you shouldn't be so extreme and talk about the UN bad and world government because that just discredits you. Really? You mean when I read a press release from the UN calling for global government and a global tax, it's basically already in place, but now they're overtly doing it? You mean I shouldn't read what Ban Ki-moon said last Friday? And link to the UN saying it? I understand. I should be an idiot like you. Continuing, activists fight green projects, seeing UN plot. Remember the New York Times 3-4 years ago? They did a review of the film New World Order that aired on Independent Film Channel. some guys followed me around off and on, a few times. And they put it out, and it was an okay film. They kind of went with the hokey angle and skewed things by focusing on some of the funnier stuff. But that's okay. I don't mind, because I know folks are going to come here